I think we're live. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. I have to show you before we get started talking about anything hydration. I have a new sling for my girls. We just got these slings in. I'm going to push it back a minute and stand up so you can see. There's me. But it's so deep. It's really nice. And it comes in a lot of really cool patterns. This is the peacock. Merida's falling asleep in it already. But it's just such a cool sling. I really like it. It's nice and lightweight for the summertime. And of course, I carry the girls in the sling a lot here. These are really cool. Ace probably won't fit, Brittany. I'm just saying. I mean, it is deep and it does carry a pretty heavy dog, but I'm not sure Ace could fit. These are really, really cool slings. They come in all different kinds of patterns. There's a rainbow pattern, which of course I love and I'm drawn to. But I really liked this one. This is peacock blue, but there's a bohemian print. And they're $39.99. They're hand woven. They're by a company called The Walking Palm. And we just got them in. They really are the coolest things. I just love these. Clearly, Merida has now gone officially to sleep and disappeared. So I love these. So I had to share this with you really quick. Yeah, $39.99 is not a bad price for a really nice sling. We'll see how well behaved Aurora Rose is. She's a little rowdy today. So she may have to, find a babysitter for a minute. Well, we're going to talk about hydration because, of course, this month is National Hydration Month. And hydration is so important for so many reasons. So we think of hydration in the form of water. And water is a great hydrator. I am not discounting or discrediting water at all. It is a wonderful hydrator for our pets, and you should always have clean, fresh water available for your pets. But there are some really important things you can do with other methods of hydration that maybe you don't know about. And I always say, if you're going to hydrate, don't waste it. Pack it with nutrition. And so we have a lot of recommendations for hydration. Yeah, she's going to be rowdy today. Man, Rory Rose, you are just rowdy. Just rowdy. Okay. But we have some methods for hydration that we really recommend. So if you've ever talked to me about kibble feeding, and kibble would be dry food, my recommendation is to always put moisture in with kibble. So if you're feeding a dry food, you should never feed the food dry. If it doesn't have moist food mixed in with it, which I do recommend, but if you don't have moist food, Serena, you can use this with a cat. Sorry, there is a question really quickly about the sling. You can use this with a cat or dog. It doesn't have to just be dogs. So yeah, absolutely. We have lots of slings you can come and test out, but you can use it with a cat. So we're going to talk about different ways that you can hydrate your pet in addition to adding the moisture to their kibble. I'm going to talk about these things, mostly bone broth and goat milk, and our friends Nulo Hydrate, and some creative ways that you can both hydrate them and keep them cooler here in the summer months, because hydration is, of course, more important in the hot weather when they're going outside and, getting warmer, panting a lot. Hydration is even more important. But hydration aids in digestion. It also aids in nutrition. So what happens is when the cells get moisturized, they kind of open up to nutrition. And so it more readily accepts the nutrition from the pet food that you're feeding. So adding in moisture is such a good thing on so many different levels. Cats especially. And so we talk a lot about how cats are so different than dogs. Cats have such highly refined kidneys that they need their moisture with their diet. So the best diet for a cat is going to be a canned diet or a raw diet that has the moisture with it. I know that some cats get addicted to hard, crunchy food, and it's mostly the carbohydrate in that food that addicts them. The sugar the carbohydrates turn to sugar in that cat's body. It can cause obesity. It can cause diabetes. It can also cause thyroid issues. And so cats really should not, if you can at all help it or wean them off of it, eat dry food unless you absolutely have to. It does not clean their teeth. That is a myth. And it doesn't help with anything else. It just adds carbs to their diet. They're obligate carnivores. They should only be eating wet diets. That's where they should get their moisture from. That being said, cats are hard, and cats will starve themselves to get what they want. So if you have a cat who absolutely won't give up their crunchy food, you want to add in some moisture with nutrition packed in it. So bone broth is a great way to do that. Goat milk is a great way to do that. Sometimes they can be kind of picky about the goat milk that they will drink. Oops, sorry. And so you may have to test it a little bit. Some of the goat milk has things added in to help make it a little bit more attractive for cats to drink. So we're going to go over all these products and talk a little bit about hydration. And I'll tell you about a special deal we have going on too. So our friends at Stella and Chewy's first came out with these nice little Tetra packs of bone broth. They have it in chicken and beef, and they have them in the Tetra packs. Everybody loved the Tetra packs, but the one thing they did not like is this is not resealable. And so in the refrigerator, if you've opened this up, you shouldn't leave it in the fridge any more than 3 days while it's open. So they came out with a resealable bone broth, again, in the same flavors, but just in a larger package that has the screw top on it. You can leave this in your fridge. And I'd recommend putting a couple tablespoons of that in with your pet's diet. Even if you're feeding raw, it's wonderful to add in bone broth. Bone broth is very rich in glucosamine, and it is very rich in collagen. So great things to add to your pet's diet. And the other wonderful thing about bone broth is the hydration. So you're adding nutrition to your pet's diet while also adding in moisture. The other thing to remember about bone broth, we have people ask all the time, well, can't I just get bone broth at the grocery store? They do sell bone broth. It is human grade bone broth, and you must remember that a lot of those bone broths have sodium added and they have onions added. That's because we love salt as people, and we also love onions because it gives great flavor. Onions are dangerous for dogs, so you want to make sure you're getting a pet safe bone broth. All of the bone broths we sell are pet safe. You're not going to find onions in them, and you're not going to find any additional sodium. Nulo, our friends at Nulo, I do love theirs. They have 3 different flavors. They have turkey, beef, and chicken. They used to have a fish bone broth, but they had to do away with that. But theirs has thyme and turmeric added in, which is wonderful. And I believe they have, apple cider vinegar, which is another great addition, another great thing for your pet to give. It's a good body cleanser and helps in so many different ways. So we love our friends at Nulo, and theirs comes in 2 different sizes. This is their resellable, shelf-stable screw top that can go in the fridge after you've opened it. They also have these individual envelopes that are just single serve. And so the really lovely thing about this is if you're going hiking or you're going to be out of town and you're doing meal prep, this is an easy way that your pet sitter just opens it and pours it over the food, and they're one and done, and they can throw the envelope away. But this comes in all the flavors as well. They're little individual pouches. But if you also want to just try it out with your pet, this is a great way that you're not investing a whole lot of money and just a way to try it out. So those are our friends at Nulo. Our friends at Nature's Logic make dehydrated bone broth. This is the beef. They make it in 4 different flavors, but it's just dehydrated bone broth. So you'll take this and add water back in and stir it around. You can put this over their food and then add the water and stir it is what I'd recommend. It does take a good bit of friction to kind of mix it in. So you're either going to add the kibble, pour the powder over, and then add the moisture and stir it. Or you can even take a canister that you can shake really well and put the moisture in, then put the broth in, because this gets kind of lumpy. And so you're going to want a good amount of friction to shake it. But we do love Nature's Logic, and they make a great bone broth. The nice thing about this is if you're just going through a little bit at a time, you're not going to have to worry about it going bad in the fridge. And this is a great way to keep it. It'll go a nice long way, and it's a great product. Our friends at Open Farm, they have a great bone broth as well. And theirs has turmeric and cinnamon in it. And so, you just shake it up, pour it over the kibble, or pour it over your raw or freeze-dried, whatever you're feeding. Another great one. It's for dogs and cats as well. And then Primal has their bone broth in the freezer. We have a couple of bone broths in the freezer. We're getting in a new one by our friends at Green Juju. But they have several different flavors, Primal does. And you can find this in the freezer section. And then once you've defrosted it, you just put it back in the fridge and use it as you need it to pour it over. Now, these are some of my favorite bone broths, I will say. Some of my favorite. These are by Colorado Hemp Honey. And so the nice thing is that they have hemp in them. This one has elderberry and green tea. This one has boswellia and ginger. And so ginger is really good for digestion. Elderberry we know is great for immunity. And so these both have hemp honey in them as well, in addition to the bone broth. So these have so many different wonderful things in addition to the bone broth. And what you do is you take this little screw top and put it on the top here, keep it in your refrigerator, and just pump a couple of pumps in your dog's bowl. And it lasts, I mean, they say 1 to 2 pumps, 1 pump per every 20 pounds. So 1 to 2 times a day. And it has 40 milligrams of ginger root, 5 milligrams of hemp extract. So it's really, really, really good stuff. I love this company. We have interviewed them before on our Facebook Lives, but this is a great addition. If you're looking for something, if you need to give hemp to your pet anyway, this is a great way to do it. So you can find that in our bone broth section. Next, to talk about some other ways you can add hydration. So you know we love goat milk here. If you've walked in our store and talked to any of our associates for any length of time, you know that we recommend goat milk almost immediately. It is such a fixer of all things. We have lots of different kinds of goat milk, and we have lots of different kinds of cow kefir as well, if that's what your pet does better on. But I've got Boss Dog here. Our friends at Primal have 4 different varieties of goat's milk, plus their plain goat milk. But they have, this one's their berry, which is like antioxidants and really good for immunity. They have a green one. They have a pumpkin one. I would have to think of what the other one is. But, oh, and a cranberry one, which is really good for bladder health, UTIs, things like that. But they'd be great to rotate through, so you're not always giving the same thing. But Primal is another great way to add nutrition and hydration. And as I was explaining to some of my friends today about goat milk, it is packed with nutrition. And it is actually a complete diet. You know, we don't recommend it unless there are medical reasons for that, but it is a complete diet. So if you have a pet that is ailing, or a young pet that maybe has had an upset stomach, if you get goat milk in them, it is complete nutrition for the day. So definitely add in goat milk if you've got an elderly or sickly pet. That is really good nutrition. This is Answers goat milk. It is fermented. We love Answers. And we especially love their goat milk. That's how they kind of got started. I have Steve's here, and they have several of these little pouches. They're chia freeze, and then they have, this is the carnivorage. But they have several different varieties of their goat milk yogurts. And so this is a little thicker than you may find these other goat milks to be. They are kind of thin like regular milk. This has been thickened and is akin to kind of a drinkable yogurt consistency is what I would say. And I mean, everything I'm showing you, I definitely recommend rotation, especially if your pet's not so sensitive that you can rotate between things, because it's going to expose them to berries and greens and pumpkin and all kinds of different nutritional benefits. So definitely rotate within all of these things to provide the best nutrition for your pet. So we'll move that behind, move that over here. We also have things like Green Juju, which, oh gosh, that keeps scaring me, which Brittany touched on. We do love Green Juju. If you know Billy Hokeman that we interviewed last year, who was with Answers, he's now with our friends at Green Juju. And this is bone broth, but then it also has greens added in. They have 2 variety. This is their Just Greens that has bison bone broth, and then it's going to have all kinds of vegetables in it. It will have all kinds of green leafy vegetables, and then it will have some herbal supplements like lemon and ginger and turmeric and coconut oil. all kinds of really good things, dandelion greens, which we know are really good for kidneys and bladder health. So green juju is wonderful. I was just telling someone yesterday about how I would recommend anybody who has a dog who might have just recently been diagnosed with cancer. Green juju is a wonderful addition to their diet. Yeah, so Jessie's saying that her dog Frodo loved the green juju when he was sick and needed some more iron. So all of these greens are very, very rich in iron. It's a great way to add iron, as is goat milk. It has a lot of iron in it as well. But we love green juju, and they, like I was saying, they do have two blends. They have the Just Greens, and then they have the Bailey's blend. And you can go, I will link in the comments here in just a minute to the Green Juju website, so you can read more about their products and the way that they started. But essentially, it was started to help cure a dog from cancer, and it did work. I'm sure she did other things. She talks all about that, but this was one of the main components. She started making these little green smoothies for her cancer dog. So we love the power of green juju. We also love Primal's toppers, and this is the awesome squash, which also has bone broth in it. This is their digestive support, so it's going to have things like pumpkin and squash in it. So if you have a dog that's prone to upset stomach or IBS, this is great digestion support. And again, you're getting the moisture of the bone broth, but you're also getting the great nutritional value of the pumpkin and the squashes that are included in this. Last but not least, we have Nulo Hydrate. So these are something new, and you may recognize kind of the packaging and the little containers. You may have seen them in the drink aisles in the grocery store for humans. These are the same kind of philosophy. You squirt them in water to flavor the water, and they are water enhancer. Each one of these is 16 servings. And so for dogs 30 pounds or less, add a squeeze or 2 to 8 ounces of water per day. For dogs over 30 pounds, serve up to 4 squeezes a day. You shake before you use it. And of course, it has natural flavoring. And then it has lots of different additional things like lysine and rosemary to help rehydrate the body. So it has a lot of electrolytes. Think of it kind of like Gatorade for a dog. So if your dog has been out on a walk and you maybe have a dog, I know Jessie has recently used these with a dog that we have that's struggling to drink water. This can be a good way to get your dog to drink water because it is flavored water at that point. Just like it can be tough to get children to drink water and you want to put a little bit of flavoring in it. Same idea, and a great product. They've been selling very well. So all of these things, everything that I'm showing you here, can be used to make ice cubes in silicone trays. This is just a fun little prop we have from our friends at Nulo. And also, we have trays here, little silicone trays by our friends at Messy Mutts. And we also have these slow feeder trays. We have this shape, and we also have a bone shape that have a nice little lip on them. So we have licky mats, but this is really a slow feeder that has a nice lip on that. Hopefully you can see it at that angle. And so you can add some nice stuff to that. And so you can add things like the bone broth, the goat milk, the toppers, any of our powders. Maybe you're using the Firm Up or cranberry powder for UTIs. Add that in here. Also, the internal powder by Earth Animals, a great thing to put on these trays mixed in with some of these hydrators. And then you can put it in the freezer. Pull it out of the freezer and give it to your dog one afternoon and let them work on it outside. And as it defrosts, as they lick it, then they're getting all the nutrition and all the benefits of those additional supplements plus the hydration. And I was thinking about this as I was preparing for the hydration today a couple of years ago, and I see it every now and again pop up where there was this warning to not give dogs ice cubes. That cannot be further from the truth. Dogs can have ice cubes. Do not worry about that. Now, of course, with anything, there are inherent risks. You don't want your dog to inhale the whole ice cube just because that can be painful, but it's not going to give them bloat. I think that was one of the things that it said, is that ingesting ice cubes would give dogs bloat. You certainly want to watch how much you're giving them in frozen things because you don't want to cool them off too much. But I mean, with 90-degree weather going on right now, you're not going to readily be able to cool them off too much. So these are really cool products. Let me grab this other messy mutt one. This one is a bake one as well. So you can bake it or you can freeze it, which is pretty cool. And super easy to use. And you can do this for dogs or cats. So if you have, cats don't typically like things that are cold, but you know, cats are crazy. So sometimes there are those random cats out there who like cold things. But they typically like things more room temperature or warm, on the warm side of things, because they like their fresh kill. And so, but you can do this for cats if you want. So I'm looking to see. Yeah, Brittany is saying they replaced the Answers fish stock with the Primal Mussels, and they're using the Primal Mussels. They have a mussel topper that is really cool. Again, great for joint health because of all of the green lip mussels in there, but also has it's very rich in omegas, which if you've watched any of our Facebook Lives, you know I talk a lot about kibble being void of omegas. Really valuable omegas because they're unstable in kibble food. So adding in omega sources is what you need to do. Add them back in, and that's a great way to add them back in. You can also add them in by making a slow feeder for them. So if you guys have any other questions about hydration, I'll kind of wait a minute and see if anybody has any questions. And then I'll tell you all about a special deal that we have going on till the end of the month. I don't see any more questions. I'll go ahead and tell you guys. So our friends at Open Farm, and we love Open Farm. Some really cool things about this company is if you go to their website, all of their meat is humanely raised, and you can actually type in the number, the lot code from the back of the food, and you can see where the ingredients were sourced from. It will tell you all of the suppliers for that food, which is pretty cool. And we love that they're a very sustainable company. So they're all about animal welfare. So this is animal welfare certified. It's human grade. And they have the traceable every ingredient back to the source. And this is tetracycle. So they're all about earth friendly as well. And these things are really cool about our friends at Open Farm. Open Farm makes a kibble. They also make a freeze dried. They also make a goat milk kefir and a cow kefir. And they make bone broth. And we love bone broth. And so for the rest of the month, starting today, it's going to be BOGO on all of Open Farm bone broth at both store locations. And this deal will be available online. It will also be available in store. So BOGO on all flavors of the Open Farm bone broth starting today and ending on July 31st. So take advantage of that while you can. That's a really good deal. And it's a great way to get some bone broth hydration into your pet. You can use it to, of course, make some ice cubes for your pet, or to make some tasty treats, or just to rehydrate their meal and add some nutrition and hydration to the dry food that you feed. So these are all of my tips and tricks for hydration. It is so important. And everybody thinks hydration is water, and it is, but it's so much more, and it can be so much more for your pet. So make the moisture work for your pet. Make it do more than just hydrate. It can help with nutrition. It can aid in digestion. It can do so much more for them. My pets regularly get bone broth. They regularly get goat milk in their food, and they already eat a raw diet. And so they get tons of moisture in their diet. Yeah. And clearly we're over it today. You just over it, Aurora Rose, the ham bone. Well, I hope you guys have a lovely weekend. I have to show you this wonderfully cute little dress that Aurora Rose has on today. Many of you may not know, but Inspired by Chi Chi moved away, but she's still sending us dresses. So we still, of course, have some here. But this one is You're My Lobster. and it has lobster print all over the skirt of this dress. And I saw this dress come in. I had to steal it off the rack because, you're my lobster, right, Roy Rose? She is a mess and a half. But we hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. We do have some Zen boxes left, so if last weekend you discovered your pet is now afraid of fireworks and thunderstorms, come and see us because the thunderstorms are not going to cease. We've got a long ways to go to get out of our hurricane season around here, and you will need these Zen products. So come and get a box. You can order it online and get your subscription this month because next month is our birthday. And our birthday box this year is going to be packed. It's going to be packed. It's going to have so many good things in it. But there is a limit. And once they're sold out, they're sold out. And so if you have a subscription, you will get a reserved box. So make sure you subscribe this month to make sure you have a box reserved for you for next month. Well, I hope you guys have a lovely weekend, and we will see you back here next week. But I hope you pop in or jump online and take advantage of the Open Farm Bone Broth deal and try that out with your pet. Keep us posted. Let us know the things you try, and we look forward to hearing about your newly employed hydration methods. See you guys soon.